It's Saturday night,
The kids are in bed.
which means we did it. We survived another week.
So let's talk about it.
From our latest homebrew project,
To kids' crafting projects.
it's just talking life with two young kids and two dogs. Grab your favorite beverage, sit back,
Relax.
and see where the conversation takes us.
Sometimes we don't even know until we get there. This is the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline. How's it going, Caroline?
Considering we have the sickness here, it's going pretty well.
The sickness.
Yes.
Not COVID, though.
Not the Rona. No. Lily caught the crud from one of the restaurants that we went to last weekend. Probably.
We don't know where she got it.
She got it somewhere.
It probably has to do with the crazy weather that we're having.
I mean, the weather for sure doesn't help, nor does the fact that she loves to lick everything.
Well, that's a toddler for you.
Yep.
We are moving up in the world.
We are.
We are recording this episode on some new equipment. We have a new mixer, new microphones, and we are sounding really great, well, hopefully.
I mean, you do all the editing, so you'll let me know later.
Yes, I will let you know later. Shout out to one of our fellow podcasters. I won't name him to protect his privacy, but we asked a question in one of the podcasting groups on Facebook, and this guy, who is a complete stranger to us, agreed to send us this mixer with no strings attached.
Totally unprompted. We were just asking what equipment should we buy to replace the equipment that we had. Like, not like, hey, give us equipment. It was, hey, how can we work around this problem that we're having? And if we can't, what equipment should we get?
Yeah, we did not have any underlying motives at all. But this new mixer will let us record up to 4 channels so we can start having guests on the show.
Woohoo!
So again, shout out to him. He definitely did not have to do that, and we did not expect him to do that. So thank you again. We really appreciate it.
It's awesome. And with our new equipment, we have another great show planned out for you this week. We're going to talk all about the many adventures, well, the few adventures, and then the many things that we've had over the last week. Plus, we're going to talk all about some of the local kid-friendly parks that we enjoy. So let's dive in and get started.
That was quite a week.
It's been a week.
What a week.
I'm so tired.
So on Sunday, we took the kids to church to see how they do. It went well, right?
It did. So we did a trial run at a short mass on Tuesday with me and my mom. That was 2 weeks ago at this point. So on Sunday, we did full bore mass with people other than the geriatric. So
The old people.
that's a fancy word for old people. And fun fact, if you're pregnant and you're over the age of 35, they call your pregnancy a geriatric pregnancy. It's great. So we took the kids to mass. We got to mass on time, which was nice.
It helps that we live 2 seconds away.
It does help that we live 2 seconds away. So we took the kids to mass. Lily did pretty good. She only talked a few times, and it wasn't anything too rambunctious. And she only threw her soft toys. So nobody else really knew that she threw her soft toys. That was nice. But I also only packed fabric toys. I think the handful of toys that were not fabric were things that you threw in there.
But we were all socially distant, and we were wearing masks.
We were. So it was very different than the pre-Rona and pre-kids church that we have attended, because now we have to look after 2 small children. But considering that was only Lily's third mass ever, I mean, at this point, Elliot sleeps through most things, so he does whatever he wants. But that was Lily's third mass ever, and she did fine. So we hope that tradition continues, especially since they have to sit through mass and then post-mass tomorrow. Fingers crossed they sleep well tonight.
So what else happened?
So on Monday, Elliot went and got his 2-month checkup. He is nearly 15 pounds. Boy is a chunker. His rolls have rolls. So I get to learn how to take care of that because Lily was a big girl, but she wasn't a chubby girl. Her rolls didn't have rolls. Elliot's rolls have rolls. which is fine. He's a baby. That's totally allowed. I just have not had to deal with that before. So now I'm learning. But he's super healthy, super happy, doing everything he's supposed to be doing. So that's good. And on Monday, Elliot and myself checked our P.O. box, which is when we picked up this fancy equipment. We're super excited.
Yeah, that is exciting that we got it that quickly. And Eli is he like the 97th percentile overall?
Overall, he's about 95th percentile, but he's very proportionate. And I want to say at his 1 month checkup, overall, he was like the 90th percentile. So there's a very good chance at his 4 month checkup, he's going to be off the charts. Because Lily started off in the 60th or 70th percentile and then slowly worked her way up to 90th.
She's a tall girl, too.
She is very tall. She is long and lean.
Yeah, but she's skinny.
Mm-hmm.
But she also walks and runs.
She runs everywhere. We have video of her from tonight. While cleaning out the house to have people over, we rediscovered 2 hippo bath mats that we have that I got from events at the zoo. And Joe's like, what are we going to do with these? And I said, put them in the kids' rooms. To which you said, where? They already have rugs in their room. There's nowhere for these to go. And I said, find a place. So
she was very excited.
Lily was out of the house when we did this, and she hadn't been upstairs to her room yet. So Lily went up to her room and she saw it, and she got super excited and started jumping on her rug like a trampoline. And she said, "Woohoo!" Or no, she said, "Wow!" at one point, like, in her little whisper voice. And then she ran into Elliot's room because I was like, hey, your brother has one too. And she saw it hiding underneath the ottoman. So it wasn't like it was the exact same thing because hers is completely uncovered by her bed. Elliot's is under his ottoman. So it's like half hidden, but she saw it and she ran back and forth between the two of them. Every time she got back into her room, she would start jumping on hers again. At one point, she was jumping up and down on her rug saying happy. And it was really cute.
It was. It was really cute.
And then one of the times running from Elliot's room back to her room, she picked up a little too much speed. So she almost wiped out trying to make the turn in the hallway. And I have like 2 seconds of that on video.
She almost wiped out down the stairs.
Yeah. She was just so excited.
Yeah, I guess so. Hippos are exciting, as discussed during our zoo episode. Shout out to that episode.
I mean, Fiona's amazing. And one of those rugs I got from a Fiona painting party at the zoo. So
Fiona was not at the painting party.
They did have a disclaimer on the event. Fiona will not be at this event. And I'm like, no duh.
So that brings us to Tuesday. And well, let's back up to Saturday when we went to Home Depot, right? A week ago?
Yes.
We went to Home Depot and we got like 10 bags of mulch.
And we were going to do all the yard work, which I'm sure we talked about last week in that episode that you are currently editing. I was like, yard work, let's get it done.
Yeah, and the weather was nice and spring-like and beautiful.
Spring had sprung. The air was nice. The sun was shining.
And then Lily got a cough.
Yep. I managed to mow 3/4 of the lawn before I was just done. Well, no. So I had killed grass strategically because I needed to put mulch underneath the swing set for the picnic table and then kill some of the grass around the swing set so it's easier to mow around. Did some light yard work and then I mowed the lawn. And I managed to mow 3/4 of the lawn before I said, nope, done, tired. Joe can finish this evening, or I will finish it tomorrow. It's supposed to get cold tonight, but that's okay. I'll bring in the plants that I just bought that I haven't planted yet, and we'll finish mowing the lawn this evening or tomorrow. And during the day on Tuesday, Mom had been saying, Lily has a cough. You might want to keep an eye on it. Well, Lily woke up from her nap. No, Lily didn't nap.
No, she didn't.
Lily did not nap on Tuesday. That was one of the reasons why we knew something was up as well. Lily did not nap on Tuesday.
She didn't want to nap. Nope.
She was just miserable. So
her nose started running and it was in her chest.
Yeah. So I sucked out her nose a few times, which helped. We got the humidifier out again. Had to dig that out of the basement.
Turn the heat back on.
Hey, I never turned the heat on. We made it through like 4 hot days without turning on the air conditioning, and we have super needed the heat since.
No, I thought you did turn on the heat.
The air conditioning? No, I never turned on the air conditioning.
The heat.
The heat's always been on.
Oh, gotcha.
I never turned, well, like I turned the furnace off, but I never turned the AC on, which is my definition for like turning off the heat completely. So homegirl was miserable Tuesday night.
She wouldn't fall asleep. Well, she did fall asleep.
She fell asleep for an hour or two.
And then around 11 o'clock, she woke up crying.
It was about 10:30. She woke up completely miserable. I think she was screaming. I was about to get into bed, and I was like, screw it. We'll sleep in the recliner tonight. Because she was having a hard time breathing, and I didn't think that her laying horizontal would be good for her. And there are tricks that you can do to prop up their mattress, but I did not have the time or energy to execute any of those because you have to find supplies in your house. So we moved the noise machine and the humidifier into Lily's room, into Lily's room with toddler bed because there's a nice recliner in there, and I snuggled with Lily. She fell asleep about an hour later. I might have dozed off a little bit, and I woke up, realized that she was asleep. I was like, okay, let's risk it for the biscuit. I will put her in her toddler bed. So I think it was about 11:30. I put her in her toddler bed. And then I reclined the recliner all the way, and I just slept in her room. And then 4:30, she woke up screaming. Not crying, screaming.
She didn't know where she was.
She didn't know where she was. She couldn't breathe. Like, she sounded a lot worse. So I snuggled with her for a bit, changed her diaper, sucked out her nose. Nose Fritas are amazing. They're not a sponsor yet. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's the closest you can get to hospital grade suction without going to a hospital. Those little bulb suction things do nothing.
No, I don't really understand how they work or why people use them.
So the bulb suction gets stuff out of their nose, but it doesn't get anything out of their sinuses. And their sinuses is where all that congestion builds up. So that's why they can't breathe. So snuggled with Lily for about an hour, managed to get her down in the toddler bed, was about to go back to sleep in the recliner.
And then Mr. Elliot woke up.
Yep. Then Elliot woke up at like 5:30 in the morning. I was like, yay. Changed his diaper, got him a snack, and then put him to sleep in the crib. And at that point, I was like, I can sleep in my own bed. And it was 6:15ish at that point. So I climb into bed and conk out. I'm like, whatever sleep I can get, I am taking. Because I did manage to sleep in the recliner. It just wasn't great sleep, which is understandable because it's a recliner.
It's a comfy recliner.
It is a very comfy recliner, but it is not my sleep number bed.
No, it's not. The important thing is that Lily did not sleep with us in the sleep number bed.
That is the very important thing. We're trying to not get her in the habit of sleeping in our bed, which so far has worked out.
If she wakes up early in the morning, at like 6.
Then we watch Sesame Street in Mom and Dad's bed.
Yeah, but she doesn't sleep in there, but she lays in there. So that's a little different.
Yeah. So about 7:15ish, would you say? I don't know because I did not fully wake up. At some point, Lily woke up. You went and got her, changed her diaper, and stuck her in our bed and put on 101 Dalmatians.
That kid loves that movie.
She does. I'm pretty sure I slept 3/4 of the time she was in our bed. Because you went to go get donuts, and I was like, okay, that's great. But fortunately, Lily was still feeling miserable, so she wasn't going anywhere.
That would have been bad.
I would have woken up if she got out of bed, probably.
Well, today we were watching 101 Dalmatians in bed, and she did get up randomly. She ran into her room. I'm like, what are you doing? And then we went back and watched it.
That was on your watch, not on mine, though. What was I doing?
You were doing something.
Taking care of Elliot?
Maybe.
Yeah, I was taking care of Elliot. So Joe got us donuts.
And coffee.
And it snowed.
Yeah, this is Wednesday. It snowed overnight. I had to brush off my car.
There was like an inch of snow on the grass and the cars. And we had we knew that it was going to get cold. There was a possibility it was going to snow. When I woke up with Elliot, I came downstairs to get his boppy and was like, hey, Joe, look out the window. There's snow. What is this?
Yeah, and that's pretty rare for us. And it's late April at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
I guess it was more like mid-April back then.
Mid to late April.
Yeah.
But Larry was born the first week of May, and there was 6 inches of snow on the ground the year he was born.
Yeah, but that's the record.
Yeah. So crazier things have happened. We just hope they don't happen again.
Not in our lifetime, though.
Nope.
Well, I'm not saying that we haven't gotten a snow in April before. I'm sure we have, but...
Snow that stuck that well.
Yeah. Usually it's like a dusting.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of snow for April.
Yeah. And I was going to do yard work on Wednesday, and that turned into taking care of Sicky Butt Lily, trying to make sure that Elliot didn't catch it.
Yeah, note that the day before we were cutting the grass.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't finish cutting the grass. There's snow there.
There is a meme going around where there's a guy cutting the grass and he's like, have to cut the grass before the snow.
Yep. Only in Ohio. But this did happen a few other places too.
I have a coworker based in Milwaukee, and he didn't get any snow.
Oh, wow. Larry did another home improvement project on our house on Wednesday. That was nice.
Yes, we have a sunroom in the backyard. Nothing to sneeze about. I mean, it's kind of old.
But it's nice.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's nice. Yeah, we host parties back there, get-togethers. And when we got the house, there were 4 sets of plugs in each of the corners in the floor, embedded in the concrete.
Yeah, and they had a TV plugged in down there. At least when we walked through the house, they did.
Yeah, the previous homeowners, they acted like, they used it all the time. It was great.
And possibly they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
They actually drilled a hole in the wall so they could run a cable line out there. So there is a good chance they actually use that TV quite frequently.
Yeah, maybe, which is even more scary. So on Halloween in 2020, I was letting the dogs out, and Larry and your mom was over to say hi to Lily and stuff. See her in her costume. And I was letting the dogs outside in the backyard, and I heard a buzzing, and it was coming from one of the outlets. And I've never heard that sound before. So I'm like, Larry, why is the outlet buzzing? And he has hard hearing, so I don't think he could hear it.
He probably couldn't, but that's okay.
But he knows electric. He knows how to do electric and all the ins and outs of all that. So he knew, even though he couldn't hear it, he knew what it meant. And
not good things. Spoilers.
The look on his face when I said that the outlet was buzzing, he was like, what? He immediately ran to the breaker and started shutting off breakers to try to shut the power off.
Because we have, I think since we did the basement remodel,
this was during the basement remodel.
Yeah. Since we were in the middle of the basement remodel, we knew a bit more about what outlets went where. Because Larry had spent 1 or 2 of your lunch breaks saying, hey, can you log off? Because I don't know if I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi. I'm going to just start flipping breakers and seeing what turns off so I can better map out where your electric is. Because we have an outlet that does a light in the basement, some outlets in the library, and then one of the bedrooms. Our house is wired weird, but that's what you get with old houses.
Yeah. So we found the breaker and we did some investigating. We unscrewed everything and pulled it out, made sure the electric was off. There's a pool of water inside this breaker.
If there are 2 things that mix fantastically, it's water and electricity.
Yeah, but the reason, and we just used that like the month before for Lily's birthday.
Yeah. No. Did we? I don't know if I did, because I didn't have the crock pots plugged in when they were outside.
Oh, maybe we didn't then. But we have used that outlet before.
Yeah, we used to plug the radio into it.
Yeah, but the reason why we didn't die when we did that is because you can put wires into water if they're insulated.
It's when it reaches the non-insulated part that you have an issue.
Yes. So luckily the wires were insulated. So, but it's still not good.
No.
Do not put outlets on the floor outside.
So
there was no waterproofing. They didn't use a waterproof box or anything.
No, and they didn't use GFIC outlets, which is why it was buzzing, because there wasn't anything saying, hey, I'm making an electrical connection with 0 resistance. Maybe you should shut me off. And our breakers aren't...
The wire was too heavy too, I think.
Yeah, the wires don't necessarily match the breakers. So the breaker, the wires would catch on fire before the breaker goes off. which, yay, that's fantastic.
And when I touched the outlet, it was warm.
Which is unsurprising because electricity can generate heat.
So eventually, if we let that go, it would have, the wires...
Eventually, we could have created a fire.
From the sunroom, the wire would have gotten hotter and hotter and hotter until it reached the breaker. And eventually, it would have started a fire.
Yeah.
Would have taken a while.
Well, because the good thing is, when we got Clara, we tore all the carpet out of the sunroom. So there wasn't anything flammable near any of the outlets because we had taken out the carpet and pretty much everything in the sunroom is metal.
Yeah, if this situation was inside, that would have been a different story.
Yeah. So Larry started taking all of that apart on Wednesday so he could fill in the holes and we could redo the electric so it would be right. Not mounted into the floor, which is convenient, but a water hazard because the sunroom is mostly dry, but it's all windows and doors. So if we have all the doors open and a thunderstorm rolls through without us noticing and we have an inch of water in the sunroom, those outlets are in water, which is essentially what happened this time.
Well, the water came up from the ground.
Yeah. So this was the water from our water table came up and the ground was so saturated, it was starting to get into those outlet covers because there are multiple styles of electrical outlet boxes that you can buy. Some of them are waterproof and meant for putting in applications where you might get wet. For instance, putting in outlets that are on the floor. The previous owners did not choose to go with those. They went with the boxes that you just put in the wall. So nothing about it was watertight. Everything was metal instead of plastic.
So Larry tore out all the wires. He took out the outlets. He filled the holes with cement.
And then properly
wired as 4 plugs.
Yes. And they are in one spot, so it's less convenient.
Everything is to code.
But everything is to code, and there's a GFIC outlet right outside the house.
Yeah, because we had an outlet outside, too.
Yeah, there was an outlet outside, not GFIC. The seal on it had started to go bad. So I'm like, yay, this is great, too.
Yeah, so when we redid the basement, we wired that, and we just now fixed all of that.
Yeah, and at one point, a few months ago, it was almost a year ago, back in July, when I was redoing the backyard with Larry, and we were tearing down the shed, at one point, his reciprocating saw stopped working, and we weren't sure if it was the saw or the outlet. It ended up being the saw, but we trusted the wiring so little in this house. We thought there was a good chance it might have been that outlet instead of his saw.
Well, the good news is we've fixed everything that we can.
Yeah.
As far as the wiring goes.
Yeah. We've reduced a lot of the hazards in this house.
But some of the choices that the previous homeowners made would baffle you.
Yeah.
Because they were choices.
Well, yeah. So the sunroom was installed by a professional company because they had still had the paperwork for it. And they gave us a big stack of paperwork of owner's manuals for like their fridge and the stovetop and all of this other stuff.
The microwave, I think.
Yeah, we pitched all that. But one of them was the brochure and the receipt stating about the warranty for that sunroom. So I thought, okay, everything about the sunroom has been installed by a professional company. It's fine. Looking at it all now, we suspect that they poured that concrete floor by themselves. Now, did they? I don't know. But there is splatter up the side of the wall, which wouldn't happen if you were dealing with a professional company. It seems like it's graded a little bit weird because the floor is a little wonky. Like it's not exactly level, but it's not graded the way that I would think that it should be graded as far as like sloping away from the house.
And we didn't see all this because there was carpet there.
Correct. And they had a bunch of crap on that wall, too.
They had a bunch of crap everywhere when we toured the house.
We couldn't even see the back of the storage room. When the inspector came out, he was like, well, I just kind of have to assume that this wall is okay because there's so much stuff between me and the wall. I can't see it. Because there's a door in our storage room that's about halfway. It's like about the halfway mark for our storage room. And to the left, there was kind of a walkway where you could get to the window. To the right, there is no window. It just goes towards the garage. And there was just stuff piled from floor to ceiling, filling that whole space. So you couldn't see that back wall that touches the garage. I was slightly terrified when we moved into the house we would be throwing away junk from that storage room.
But they cleaned it out.
They did. I was very proud of them. I'm sure their kids got rid of a bunch of stuff.
I hope so.
So
That was Wednesday.
Yeah, so Larry was finishing up the electric, putting in all of the little conduit holders on the side of the house, and we look outside. No, this is before that. So Larry was working on the outside of the house, finishing up electric stuff. I had about 20 minutes of free time, so I threw bags of mulch underneath the playset so I could at least have that done and feel like I had accomplished something on Wednesday. And I'm talking to Larry, and I say, hey, it kind of looks like it's going to rain. It's 45 degrees outside, so rain would be the typical precipitation that you'd think would fall from the sky at that temperature. Maybe sleet or freezing rain, but you'd think more rain. Larry doesn't necessarily believe me, says it's not supposed to rain. We're probably fine. 5 minutes later, I look outside. Big, fat snowflakes are falling from the sky.
And the snow from the previous night.
Snow from the previous night had all melted.
It's all melted, yeah.
There was maybe a little bit by the swing set where it had been in the shade all day.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything was melted. And snow wasn't sticking. And it was just kind of with a purpose falling from the sky, but nothing insane. And then I look out the window 5 minutes later. It's practical snow squalls outside where you can maybe see a half mile in front of you. So visibility has been greatly reduced. And Larry's still working outside. And I can see snow start to pile on the top of his head and his shoulders. And I'm like, hey, Larry, do you want a hat? Do you want a coat? Do you want some hot tea? Something? No, I'm fine. It's okay. Okay, for the record, I offered you these things. I am not responsible when you catch a cold. You're the one who's blatantly refusing.
He is stubborn like that.
He is stubborn. So after about 10 minutes of snow, it finally starts to stick. But we only get about a quarter inch, maybe a half inch of accumulation, and it melts really quick. We got more snow on Wednesday. Just like, the what?
I don't know that second wave of snow, I don't know if that they predicted that necessarily.
I don't think they did.
They predicted the overnight snow. They said we're going to get about, an inch, maybe more overnight between Tuesday and Wednesday, but not Wednesday afternoon or early afternoon or whenever it was.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a surprise.
It was a surprise to everyone. Lily woke up from her nap and I was like, hey, look, Lily, it's snowing. And she's like, but we didn't play in it because she was still sick.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night, everybody slept pretty good. Everyone slept in their respective beds, which was nice. I got to recover some.
We slapped on the Vicks on everyone.
Yes. Everyone got a big slathering of Vicks before they went to bed.
Humidifiers all around. I think you went and bought a humidifier.
I didn't buy the humidifier until Thursday night.
Oh, that's right.
So Thursday morning, everybody wakes up. Lily's sounding a lot better. Elliot doesn't sound like there's anything going on with him. Lily's a little miserable all day Thursday, but she's doing better. She's more like her normal self. She's less laying around on the couch. And then Elliot wakes up from his nap, screaming and coughing. He couldn't breathe. Not like in a concerning way. I mean, it was semi-concerning, but it was more because he was screaming and coughing at the same time. He couldn't get a good breath. So we only have one nose Frida at the moment. I have to clean out Lily's, swap everything around in it so I can use it for Elliot, and then clean it again and swap everything around so I can use it for Lily. We managed to get everybody into bed. Well, I managed to get Elliot into bed, and I'm like, have fun with Lily. I'm going to Target. So I bought a second humidifier, a second nose Frida, more nasal spray for Elliot, a potty seat for Lily because I found one and was like, hey, what the hey, might as well.
Never have you ever walked out of Target spending less than $50.
If I walk out of Target with just what is on my list, it's a miracle. But hey, I remembered to buy a new bottle brush because we needed a new brush for Elliot's bottles. Raced home, plugged in the humidifier, slathered more Vicks on Elliot, and said, you will be better in the morning. He was better in the morning for the most part. I dropped Lily off at your parents' house, took Elliot to the doctor where they said he sounds really good, but it's also like the first 12 hours of him being sick, so kind of expected that. They didn't have anything new to tell me because this is the third or fourth time we've dealt with this with Lily, so I pretty much know the drill at this point.
Mm-hmm. But
it was nice to get him checked out. Said we could continue on with the baptisms, and then I dropped Elliot off at your mom's house. We had 0 children.
Woohoo!
It was weird.
It was weird.
Because with us going on vacation soon, we have to figure out my work schedule sooner rather than later, which I am not. I don't want to go back. I like my life.
It's in 2 weeks.
But I like my coworkers. I like the work that I do. The money and insurance plan don't hurt either.
Eating every day is nice.
Yeah. Continuing to have a roof over our heads is a necessity. So we started to do the practice run because Lily was doing better. Elliot was doing okay. And they had lots of fun. We managed to go out to dinner with just the two of us.
Yep, because I was, quote, working late.
Yep. That's what we told him. You saw actual people. I mean, you see actual people semi-often now. I've been trying to get you out of the house.
On Friday, I saw actual people.
We went to a restaurant. There were other people there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't interact with them, though.
No.
So maybe they were fake people.
It's just a simulation. So we managed to we picked up the kids, came home, put them into bed, and then we were like, we can kind of chill.
They were tired.
They were tired.
That's the nice thing about dropping them off at the grandparents. I think my sister gave them a bath.
She did. Both the kids got baths, so they were nice and clean. And then the way that, it's similar to the way our house is set up, but we have a bunch of baby gates up. Since they don't have permanent baby gates in their house, when they take all the baby gates down, Lily can just run laps around the center of the house. And that's what she does. No prompting, just, I'm going to run in circles.
Like 10 times in a row. I'm going to run in circles.
And then 10 more times.
And my dad chases her too.
Yeah. So she had wore herself out pretty good.
And she sounds a lot better too.
She does. I only really have to check on her nose in the mornings and the evenings now, which is good.
So that brings us to Saturday, which is today.
Yeah. Oof. Today was the day.
Lots of stuff happened today.
It did. My mom came and picked Lily up in the morning. We would only have to focus on one child while getting the whole house ready to have company over tomorrow, which is almost today. And since I had the backyard all nice and clean and it was supposed to rain and it did rain way more than we thought it was going to, I told the neighbors yesterday, hey, if you want to bring the kids over in the morning to play on the playset, Lily's not going to be here, but the kids can burn off some energy before they're stuck in the house all day.
They had a good time.
They did. So the kids had a lot of fun. We got to hang out more with Joe.
Not me. Different Joe.
Yeah, lots of Joes. And the playset is officially kid approved. Lily approved of it, but she's really been the only person that's played on it. And she can't really tell us things other than yay. So it was nice to see a bunch of kids running around on it before a bunch of kids run around on it tomorrow.
And the dogs interacted with them too.
They did. And we told the dogs, you have to be good because you will be seeing these kids a lot more this summer. Because with the weather getting nicer and Lily getting a bit better at independent play, we can kind of throw them all outside so she can interact with people and learn how to play with kids.
Yeah, and I kind of want to do not like a drive-in, but like a outdoor movie experience, kind of like what Stephen and Hillary do.
It would be nice. Get a projector, get a sheet. But we managed to get the backyard together. So the last thing I had to do was clean the patio. Between the two of us, we got the patio cleaned. Talking with Joe, Greek things came up, which included talking about Greek restaurants, which made me want Greek food. So we went out and we got some Greek food for lunch. I love me some Santorini's Euro pizza. Not a sponsor yet. It's so yummy.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You want to explain what it is, though?
So it's Euro meat and onions and tomatoes with feta cheese on a pizza crust.
Probably mozzarella, too.
There's mozzarella on it as well, but it's a Euro deconstructed onto pizza bread. And then they give you a giant side of tzatziki sauce. So you can just slather it up in your tzatziki sauce. It is amazing.
It's pretty good.
It is. We discovered them after we hiked at Mount Airy one day. We went there. I don't remember if we were prompted by a review to get the Euro pizza or we saw the Euro pizza on their menu and said we needed to get that. We got it, and now we get it every time we go.
Which isn't very often. They have kind of weird hours.
Yeah, like they're only open from 12 to 3 on the weekends, and we normally remember to go at like 4, so it doesn't quite work out for us.
Right, so you can't eat dinner. You cannot eat dinner there, and if you're hiking and you accidentally hike too long, you missed your window.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful about that.
But then there's always Workhouse with their super deep dish pizzas. Workhouse. Pizza episode.
Takes the hiking calories that we burn and just destroy it.
Yeah, if you want to completely negate the fact that you went on an intense 8-mile hike that morning, go get you some deep dish pizza.
Chicago style.
Oh, God. But we did manage to get the library, the sunroom, and the patio ready.
I can see the carpet in the library.
We can.
Or not the carpet, but the rug.
Yeah, and I mean, the garage is a little bit of a hot mess at the moment, but that's next. We're working on that on Monday. So, kids get baptized tomorrow. Outfits are all picked out for everybody, I think. We should be good to go. Jell-O cake is currently cooling. Super excited about that. I'll also be making an apple pie because Kroger gave us an apple pie that they were supposed to give to somebody else. So thank you, person that ordered an apple pie from Kroger and never actually got it.
And sorry.
And sorry that you never actually got your apple pie. Hopefully you paid attention to your receipt and they just told you to go grab one from the cooler. But Joe came home with the click list order and said, "You bought an apple pie?" Nope. And the number on the bag was not the number as the rest of our order. So somebody done mucked up in our benefit, which is better than the times where I've been missing 2 bags of groceries because that's been annoying.
Yeah.
But that was a week. What a week.
What a week. So next, we are doing another edition of What's Annoying Caroline in Children's TV this week.
Pretty sure this should just be a permanent segment. We'll make it a nice little jingle or something because lots of things bother me in children's television. But this week, the Clubhouse friends were having a pet parade. But Daisy doesn't have a pet.
Oh, no.
Daisy, would you like a pet? Well, sure. I just could never make up my mind of what I wanted. Well, us friends are going to help you find a pet. Now, I might get the characters that bring her these pets wrong, but these are the legitimate pets. So Donald shows up and says, "Hey, Daisy, I found you a pet. It's big, gray, and has a long nose." Is a baby elephant. Where did he find this pet, you may ask? The petting zoo. What? Okay. So we interact with the baby elephant that she's going to call Bubbles.
That's a good name.
It's a pretty good name for an elephant. And then Goofy shows up and says, "Hey, Daisy, I heard you were looking for a pet. I found you one. It's tall, is yellow with brown spots, and has a long neck as a giraffe." Where did Goofy find this giraffe? Also the petting zoo. What petting zoo has a giraffe and a baby elephant in it? I don't know.
Mickey's Clubhouse Petting Zoo.
Mickey's Clubhouse Petting Zoo, which we have heard about, but never actually really seen with all of the animals in it. Or the animals in it constantly change is very weird. Makes no sense. So we interact with a giraffe for a while, and then Minnie shows up and says, "Hey, Daisy, I heard you were looking for a new pet. I found you one, and it's a rabbit. It has long ears like carrots." Some kind of description that led you to say, "Hey, it's a rabbit," because the kids need to learn all about their animals, which I get, but at least be kind of realistic about what would make a good pet, because baby elephants and giraffes do not make good pets.
Maybe a goat.
A goat.
A chicken.
A chicken, something. The rabbit was actually a decent pet, but there's a reason why. So the white elephant gifts are a thing. That's the name for a terrible gift that you get from someone, because if you hated someone, but you wanted to appear like you were being nice in the olden times, you would gift them an elephant. But then they would go broke taking care of said elephant because it would literally eat them out of house and home. So it was a white elephant gift because it seemed like it was nice, but really it was terrible. So back to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Daisy has these 3 pets to choose from. But oh no, I can't choose which pet I want. So they're all going to be my pet. But 2 of them are going to continue to live in the petting zoo, so really they're not her pet. Just say keep the rabbit. Because otherwise, when my daughter's older, she's going to be like, "We should have a baby elephant and a giraffe as pet." Because she's going to think that that's a legitimate thing.
Thanks, Disney.
It's not that hard. Just make it a dog or a cat or a chicken. Not an elephant or a giraffe. The rabbit was fine.
That was a long week, and we are grateful that it's finally the weekend. Such a long week.
I see you have an adult beverage in your hand, Joe. What you drinking?
I am drinking a Rounding Third. It's a red IPA, and it's from Matry Brewing. ABV is 6.5. IBU is 51. It's a little more hoppier than what I usually drink, but I do like to get it during this time of year because, and this is the description, it is brewed to celebrate the start of our favorite pastime, baseball. Rounding Third has a slight caramel, semi-sweet malt backbone, balanced by a strong hop profile, dry hopped with Falconer's Flight and Simcoa. It will have your palate rounding third and heading for home. So I do like to drink this during our round opening day. And the rounding third is named because Joe Nuxall was a left-handed pitcher, famous left-handed pitcher, who played primarily for the Cincinnati Reds. And immediately after retiring as a player, he became a radio broadcaster for the Reds from 1967 through 2004. And he continued part-time up until his death in 2007. So Nuxall held the team's record for career games pitched, 484, in 1965 to 1975. Still holds the team mark for left-handers. So he's a well-known Cincinnati Reds player. And part of his, as a broadcaster, part of his trademark radio sign-off phrase was, "This is the old left-hander, rounding third and heading for home." And this phrase is displayed outside of the Reds Stadium, Great American Ballpark, which opened in 2003.
Nice.
So that's some context behind the phrase rounding third. It has to do with baseball, specifically Cincinnati Reds baseball. But I do like this beer. It's a good beer, even though I'm not an IPA person.
It's a pretty good beer. I drink it, but that is not what I'm drinking right now.
No, you're drinking like the complete opposite of an IPA.
I am. So I'm drinking a Listerman Brewing Company Shamrock Shake, which is an Irish cream stout. It is 5.5% and has 25 IBUs. The description for this beer is Irish cream stout. They don't put anything fancy behind it. Listerman they're either 2 lanes. They're pretty traditional and shoot straight. And then they have their crazy beers that are delicious. That it's like, here are 10 things that we put in this beer, and we have the super ridiculous description for it because we're just super ridiculous people.
What is the Sam Adams beer that they do? Something on Mother Truckin'.
Oh,
hops.
Oh my goodness. There's too many. Wait, that's going to bug me now.
Mother Truckin' hops on this Mother Truckin' IPA or something. And it's Sam Adams with a purple lightsaber. Or is that something else?
It's Samuel L. Jackson.
Did I say Sam Adams?
You did.
Sorry. What is the Samuel L. Jackson beer that they do?
Oh, wait. I'm tired of I think. I've had it with these mother effing IPAs at this mother effing brewery.
So they do have some funny named beers.
So it is Samuel L. Jackson. This is the bottle art. It is Samuel L. Jackson in his outfit from the
prequel trilogy.
No.
It's
in his outfit from the movie with Mr. Pink, Pulp Fiction. It's Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction in a plane with snakes coming out of the overhead compartments, holding a purple lightsaber. And it's, I've had it with these mother effing IPAs at this mother effing brewery. And the description is rich, fresh, dank hops, great pour.
Listerman is great.
It is.
And they also have the beer Don't Talk About Norwood.
Yes. They are very big into Norwood and not talking about it. So, pro tip though, because they come out with this beer twice a year, once at St. Patrick's Day season and the other at 6 months to St. Patrick's Day. So it's like they're halfway to St. Patty's Day. They release this beer again. But during St. Patrick's Day, it is typically Girl Scout cookie season. Eat a sleeve of Thin Mints while drinking this beer. You will thank me later.
And this is what you are doing, as you can hear. But this was from 2020, so unfortunately, we didn't get the 2021 stock.
No, I missed it.
It is in Norwood, and that's a pretty good drive from our house.
It's not an easy drive when you have a 1-month-old at home.
No, it's not, unfortunately. I wish we could go to Listerman more often.
I do too.
We usually go there when we also need to go to the homebrew shop, which they have a really good homebrew shop.
Yeah, we usually go for homebrew supplies, get a beer, and then head home.
Bring home to-go beer.
Grab as many to-go beers as we can.
Yeah, but it's kind of hit or miss. Like I said, I'm not really an IPA person.
And a lot of what they do lately is like milkshake IPAs and stuff that I will drink.
I mean, it's everyone else says it's good, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, they do good beers. They haven't done a bad beer yet.
But the Shamrock Shake, that's probably one of my favorites.
It is.
Yeah, so cheers to the weekend, and Lord help us in the week ahead, because starting tomorrow, we are going to have to do it all over again. More crazy adventures are ahead, and we will make sure to share them with you each week right here on the Craft Parenting Podcast. So, on to our main topic. We are going to talk about some of the parks that we like to go to that have playgrounds.
Now, we do other things at some of these parks. We will talk about those things as well. We will have another episode at some point where we'll go into other aspects of parks. So like ones that are great for walking, ones that are great for hiking, ones that are great for hiking, but the trails aren't labeled very well. So go with someone who knows the trails or you will get lost and potentially die.
So the Great Parks of Hamilton County, that's who manages these parks.
Some of these parks.
So if you go to a park of Hamilton County, you need to buy a pass to access the park.
If there's a ranger there. If there's not a ranger there, you don't really have the ability to buy a pass. But if a ranger does find you without a pass, you can pay them to get a pass or pay a ticket. But they're cheap. They're like
$2, $5.
It's like $2 for a day pass, and I want to say it's like $20 for a year pass now. I should have looked that up.
Well, we'll link it in the show notes. So there's a wide variety of parks in the county that range from small nature preserves to large sites with multiple picnic shelters and activities. And one of these parks is called Miami Whitewater Forest. And this is a great park just all around for anything that you want to do. It is the largest park in the Great Parks of Hamilton County. Their Mount Hope location, there's a good lake with rentals for paddle boats and other things, a snack stand, a gift shop, a great educational visitor center, a large play set, and a splash pad. And as with anything, you have to check their website for times and make sure that they are open because COVID kind of just mucks everything up.
Spoilers, Rona kept all of the splash pads closed this year. So taking Lily to a splash pad in the Great Parks is not an option this year. But next year, they can both run around a splash pad, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So at Miami Whitewater, they have 2 large paved trails. They have a 1.4-mile fitness trail,
which is a lot of fun because like every 10th of a mile, there's a fitness activity that you can do and either fail at or succeed at. But if you've got children that you want to wear out, you can use those activities or modify those activities to wear the crap out of them in that 1.5 miles.
And additionally, there's a 7.8-mile trail, and both are fun. I tend to think of the 7.8-mile trail as like a biking trail.
Yeah, we walk it with the dogs from time to time. Usually, so I recommend doing the Shaker Trail, which is the 7.8-mile trail, if you're going to bike, because then you can get through it quickly, because it's not very hilly, it's just long. But if you're going to walk it, do it in the winter or during a very cloudy day, because
there's nothing. You're walking through cornfields.
7 miles of this trail, there is zero shade. So if you're going in the summer, lather up your sunscreen, bring extra water, put on the biggest hat you have, because there's nowhere for relief. And I think there might only be one water stop. There is only one water stop. But
there is a porta potty.
There is a porta potty there, at least in the winter time. But during the summer, they have people run that trail with golf carts because even though there are signs that say this is a 7+ mile trail, bring water, people still misread the signs and go the wrong way and have to get rescued. So they just do that as a precautionary kind of thing. So the fitness trail is better if you have kids and you're not necessarily going to like bike or run those 7 miles with them in a stroller. And then with fitness trail, there's a creek. It's more of like a stream that you actually hit for part of the trail. So you can, like the kids can wade up to their ankles if you want them to cool off a little bit and do a little bit of extreme stomping before you keep them going. But you do have to be careful because there is a sudden drop off. Not like sudden, but the water does get deep at a certain point. So you want to make sure you're keeping an eye on them.
And Miami Whitewater does have a play set. It is huge.
It's a big one.
And there's a younger kid area and an older kid area and a ton of swings.
Mm-hmm. It is near a lake, so keep a semi-close eye on your kids. And it's not the newest play set out, but it's still a pretty good play set. It's got a lot of slides, a lot of different platforms. Kids can run around for half an hour and probably not get bored.
And as we mentioned, they do have a splash pad.
Mm-hmm.
It is pirate themed with a crashed pirate ship and a great way to cool off in the summer. You do need a ticket to play, during normal times. You do need a ticket to play on the splash pad, and you have to wear a swimming suit. However, they are closed, as we said.
Yeah. So this was something that they put in. I want to say when I was in like 4th grade. The pirate ship has been around for a while because I remember playing on it before they said you needed a ticket to play on it back in ye olden times. It probably has a little bit of wear now, but it's still a pretty decent splash pad, and it's a nice way to cool off in the summer. And then you can go get an ice cream from the snack bar and wander around inside for a little bit at the visitor center to visit the beaver dam that they have, maybe visit the gift shop because kids always want to visit the gift shop. And if you want, you can rent some paddle boats.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Renting the paddle boat.
Again, no shade, wear sunscreen, wear a big hat. I got sunburnt the last time we did that, which was like 2010.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long while since we've rented a paddle boat at Miami Whitewater.
And there's fishing too.
Yeah, and you can fish. You can rent boats with an onboard motor, so you can go further out on the lake to try to catch some fish. Pretty sure you can rent some kayaks if you want. They have all sorts of stuff.
You just have to remember to follow all the laws.
Correct.
For fishing.
So make sure you have a fishing license. Otherwise, you could get in trouble. Most great parks are catch and release. So just make a note before you start fishing in the lake what their policy is, so you don't get in trouble for taking a bunch of fish home or something like that. So talking about Miami Whitewater, we specified their Mount Hope location. Mount Hope is a road because they also added Simmons Family Dog Park and soccer fields. So on the way that we take to get to Miami Whitewater, there is a huge dog park that's 3 different areas. There's 2 areas for large dogs. One of them will be open and the other one will be closed so they can rest the grass. And they have a little area for small dogs. We used to take the dogs there all the time when Clara was a puppy. So soon after it opened, we would just drive the dogs there and let them run around like crazy and then take them home. And then we started going on more hikes again, and then we had kids. It's not really a great idea to take small children to a dog park because you don't know what the other dogs will be like. But there's also like 18 soccer fields there. So if you go at the wrong time, you could be there when 18 different soccer games are going on and parking is at a premium. Fortunately, that only happened to me once, I think, and it wasn't when I was with you. But the dog park's really nice. 10 out of 10 would recommend. We didn't really run into any bad dogs or dog owners when we were there. Everybody was pretty responsible, which was nice too.
So that brings us to Whitton Woods and Parky's farm.
This is my jam. So back in the olden times, when I was a director, and before I was a director at my local Girl Scout service unit's day camp.
So when you were a director, but before you were a director?
And before I was a director. When I was a volunteer and when I was a director, which is also a volunteer. Because everything is volunteering because Girl Scouts. It's a volunteer-based organization. And I don't get paid to work for council yet. We would host camp at Winton Woods at one of their various shelter areas. So I've had, in the time that I've attended day camp, we've used 3 different shelter areas. And they're all really nice. And then my family used to live by Winton Woods. So we would go to Winton Woods a lot when I was a little kid.
They also have a lake with rentals, a snack stand, a gift shop, a play set, and a splash pad.
Yep. Their splash pad is Noah's Ark themed. So you get a totally different experience. But the playground and the park are a little smaller, as Winton Woods doesn't have as much space at their main area. And they also have paved trails, with the longest of them being a little over 2 miles. The benefit is their play sets are mostly fenced in, so even though they're by the lake, you don't have to keep as close of an eye on your kids, but still keep a close eye on your kids. And so Winton Woods is kind of a weird park because it's so spread out, because it follows roads. So you've got like these little fingers that come out from your main area around the lake. And there's a neighborhood pretty much smack dab in the middle of Winton Woods as a whole. But they have tons of different shelters spread all throughout the park, which some of them also have playgrounds attached to them as well. They're smaller playgrounds and there's not necessarily a whole lot to do with them. They do have playgrounds, but they have a separate location that is Parky's farm. The Parky's farm used to be a farm and was donated to the park, I think. But the crown jewel of Parky's farm is Parky's play barn, which is the old dairy barn that they converted into an indoor play space. And I'm super bummed that it's closed due to COVID. I'm wondering if I can rent it for Lily's 2nd birthday. Maybe. So it's a giant dairy barn. They threw tractor tires and slides, all sorts of things to climb inside of this barn, and basically just said, go have fun. And the last time I was on it, I was like in 5th or 6th grade, because Parky's farm includes like a petting zoo and horses. So I've had 1 or 2 summers where I attended horse camp at Parky's farm, and I would ride their horses, and that was lots of fun. I miss my horse camp. But you can interact with the farm animals. They have an orchard. You can see things grow, and you can learn more about the food that you're eating. It's nice. We need to take the kid there soon. Have you been to Parky's farm?
I do not believe so.
We should go.
But you said it's closed.
Well, the play barn's closed. We can still see the animals.
I will look into it.
So those are two of many great parks that we visit or want to visit, because it's been a while since Joe has been to some of them.
And the next couple are smaller parks.
Correct. So these are Green Township Park, which Green Township is inside Hamilton County, but they run their parks different ways. So West Fork Park is the park that we've taken Lily to the most lately. And part of that is because it was recently remodeled back in 2017. When they remodeled it, they made it a park for children of all ages and abilities. So it features a toddler/infant play area, a rainbow maze with textured walls for sensory experiences, chimes for children to play, both metal and plastic slides. Apparently children with cochlear implants or some other medical devices can't ride down plastic slides because of all the static. That was an interesting thing that I learned when researching for this. They have a zip line, a variety of swings, a picnic shelter, though don't plan on hosting a large party there, table spaces at a premium, and a 14-foot tall mega playground. Thing is huge. For a full list of features at this park, you can see the show notes.
But I haven't been to this park yet since they remodeled.
No, and you wouldn't recognize it. So what's nice is because this butts up against the woods, they have a fence around the whole thing now, so Lily can't accidentally wander off into the woods.
Oh, that's nice.
It is. So I can just let Lily run around without really having to redirect her anywhere else. Unless if she's trying to eat someone else's food, which has happened a few times. So Lily loves playing at this park because she pretty much has free reign of what she wants to do. So she can play in the toddler area, she can play in the maze, she can go down the slides, and she can access a lot of the stuff herself, even though she's only, at this point, 19 months old. When she started going, 18 months old. There is some stuff that's a little bit harder for her to get to, so she for sure needs help, but that's what I'm there for. So I can help her get to the top platform that's 14 feet off the ground and take her down the slide, which she's super excited about. So at this park, they also have the German Heritage House, that is a museum of historic items used by German settlers in the region, and unfortunately it's closed for the time due to COVID-19. They're going to post when it'll reopen, but they haven't picked a date for that yet. And I do recall before they remodeled the park, which might have been the last time you went to the park, the middle group and the Kleine Kinder groups, the little kids, danced outside of the German Heritage Museum, and we took your sister to dance.
So that's West Fork Park. Next, we are going to talk about Kaluga Park. We normally go here for the annual firework display that they do on the 4th of July.
It's a pretty nice firework display. And the band that plays is pretty awesome, too.
Yes, the band that typically plays there, is the same band that we hired for our wedding. And our friends hired them, too. And I think they might have discovered them at this event.
So if I'm recalling correctly, yes, they discovered them at the 4th of July fireworks.
And they also do a bunch of festivals, because here in Cincinnati, all the churches do summer festivals to raise money.
Just about every Catholic church in Cincinnati has a festival at some point, some of which determines when the school year starts or ends. Because St. Ignatius, where you went to school, their festival is the weekend before Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
So school doesn't start until after Labor Day, so they can clean up from the festival before the kids go back to school.
Well, that's kind of true.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
During my 7th and 8th grade year at St. Ives, they did a bunch of construction, and we were the last ones to go back to school because of the construction.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened too.
And the festival was delayed a week. So it wasn't always, we didn't always go back to school after Labor Day.
But you couldn't go back to school until after the festival was over, because the festival took up the entire parking lot, and it took a whole week to set it up.
Right, yeah. So they delayed the festival a week, and they delayed school after that. And they just kind of kept it after the construction was over.
Yeah. So we've seen this band play a few other places at this point, but our friends discovered them, had them play at their wedding. We started doing an event at the club in June where the goal was for it to be more of a festival than a German event. So we didn't want to have German bands there. So we said, hey, we should hire Sapphire Express. We should probably start name dropping this band because they're awesome. So Sapphire Express played the first year or two of Schwabenfest, which I don't think was called Schwabenfest at that point.
It was the May Froth Fest.
Yeah, it was something weird. Oh, yeah, because it was in May, and then we swapped the events in May for the one in June, and then we called it Schwabenfest. So, I think it was the first 2 years of this event, we had Sapphire Express perform, and then we decided we're a German club. We should stop trying to pretend like we're not a German club. We'll just do what we do best and do German things. So Sapphire Express plays before the fireworks. They're a great band. They're really good at crowd participation. They hand out little trinkets to the kids based on whatever song they're singing. They hand out little tambourines. It's lots of fun.
Beach balls.
Yeah.
And they specialize in like oldies.
Yeah.
Like 70s, 80s.
Songs that you know. But like they do some modern songs too. They have a Lady Gaga song or two in their repertoire. They do some Bruno Mars. They stay in their range.
Yeah.
As far as like what they're able to sing well. And they do a good job. So we had them perform at our wedding because we didn't want a DJ that was going to play like the top 40 songs that no one was going to like. And everybody loved it. My aunt was up and dancing and she normally doesn't do that. So it was lots of fun. So anyways, 4th of July celebration is huge. If you don't get there soon enough, which we normally don't, you're in the back lot or I guess the front lot. You're not in a great spot to see the fireworks. But I mean, there's still good spots to see the fireworks.
Yeah.
There's a playground near the entrance of the park with slides, monkey bars, and swings. It's not a very big playground, but it's enough to run the kids around for about 20 minutes or so before they're like, hey, I've been everywhere on this. Let's go home.
So the park mainly features sports fields for tennis, soccer, football, and baseball. And there's a huge shelter house that they are currently renovating.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure there aren't fireworks this year. Or they haven't confirmed whether or not there are fireworks this year. Somebody asked whether or not there would be fireworks because they're renovating the shelter house. And at the time that I read the comment, Green Township had not responded as to whether or not fireworks would be happening this year.
Yeah. And if you recall in our Monkeys Invaded Cincinnati episode, allegedly there were monkeys in Kaluga Park.
Allegedly.
Which was fake news.
So fake.
They're rampaging around in the shelter, digging through garbage cans.
Allegedly. Independence Day event is canceled for 2020.
Oh, that's sad.
Sad pants.
We are introducing a new segment this week called The Dad Joke of the Week. As a father of two, I really have to practice my corny jokes so I get the maximum embarrassment when the time is right. Watch out, Lily and Eli. I'm coming for you. And your ego.
I mean, half of a father's job is to embarrass their children, but you don't have to embarrass me at the same time. So.
Wow. So get ready because this week's joke is really good.
Woohoo. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Okay. I got one. Did you hear about the ATM that got addicted to money?
No, I have not heard about this ATM.
It suffered from withdrawals. Cue the applause.
Thank you, Hubs. That was a great addition to the show, and I look forward to a new joke every week.
Yes. Send me your jokes. If you have corny jokes, send them to me.
Or good jokes. Maybe send good jokes.
That does it for this week's show. Thanks so much for listening. We want to hear from you. If you have ideas for a show topic, if you have comments about a previous show, maybe you just liked it, or you learned something new, or perhaps you hated it.
Constructive criticism only, not just blatant hate speech.
There are many ways to get in touch with us. You can send us an email at craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Craft Parenting Podcast to get updates on when episodes have dropped, see pictures of our adorable kids, and more.
Really, the pictures of the kids are what's important.
Mm-hmm.
If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Make sure to share the show with your friends, family, your neighbor down the street. You can also send us stuff at our new P.O. Box, Craft Parenting Podcast, P.O. Box 112294, Cincinnati, Ohio 45211.
And all of this information is available on our new website. Go to www.craftparentingpodcast.com, which we just launched this past week.
As of recording.
And it is beautiful because I designed it and I am upkeeping it.
Hey, those blog posts are nothing to shake a stick at. They're pretty awesome too. I'm a writer now. Woohoo! Does that mean I can steal your shirt that says writer on it? Sorry. #writer. either.
Well, you steal my shirts anyway, so.
True.
Anyway, go check it out. www.craftparentingpodcast.com.
We'll post the show notes up there. Plus, I'm writing blog posts about some of the stuff that doesn't make it onto the podcast. And you get to see more photos of kids and dogs and adorable things.
And just crazy stories about our life.
And snow in April. Woohoo.
If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the show. We are listed on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and just about every podcast app out there. Really helps our show grow. And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.
And Joe will be yawning in post.
Knock it off. It helps that we live 2 seconds away.
It does help that we live 2 seconds away. So we took...
And if I'm remembering correctly, it's a small playground.
That's what I just said, right?
Or did you say that?
Pretty sure I did. Joe, check it in post that Caroline is right.
Caroline, wake up. It's time for bed.
I like bed. Let's go to bed.